name's Chelsea Rose, also known as Lucid Rose, and I like to make art and drink tea, and that's pretty much what I do when I can. I do a bunch of different types of art. I guess I've been focusing on acrylic painting on canvas for a long time, and that's transitioning into painting really big stuff on walls, and so murals. I'm really excited about that. And I've also been doing body painting for a long time, so I'm interested in painting on all sorts of different things, whether it's inanimate or living. I just recently started doing a lot of performance painting too, so going on stage with bands and doing live body painting and live canvas painting, so that's fun. I do stuff that I don't show anybody as well. I like to write. People don't see that very often. But yeah, I feel like there's more than that, but that's what I'm thinking of right now. My art is often described to me as being whimsical and surreal. My acrylic painting tends to involve a lot of bright colors, super intense colors. I paint with primaries. I don't use a lot of earth tones, so it can be a little jarring and almost like too sweet for your teeth, but I really enjoy color and bright color. So that's my acrylic painting. As far as subject matter is concerned, I do a lot of sacred feminine stuff. It's involving the female form. I try and portray it in a beautiful, interesting, almost otherworldly light. I don't really delve into sexuality, but it ends up in, a part of it as well. We're all balanced individuals. And then I'm interested in the paranormal and the metaphysical, and I've been obsessed with mermaids and fairies and weird stuff since I was a little kid, so that all kind of plays into subject matter a lot. And then as far as the body painting is concerned, I kind of go the opposite direction with color. I prefer my photography black and white, so when I paint these women from head to toe and then photograph them, I'm mostly using black and white body paint to transfer to the photography. And it's kind of nice. It's kind of a nice break, honestly, from the super psychedelic color of my paintings to go to body painting and let it just be black and white. And the body paintings take anywhere from like an hour to 6 to 8 hours, depending on how intricate I get. I have a formula for doing it. I start with a third eye, and then I just kind of let this spiraling line work its way down the whole body. It's very, tribal inspired, kind of spiraling woad, ancient Celtic, infused with Native American, and a lot of interest in body painting used culturally around the world as initiation rites and all sorts of stuff. I should tell you, I'm really excited because I started playing with tea, painting with tea, which was great because now I'm taking my original concept illustrations that I used to format my acrylic paintings, and I'm actually using them individually and just laying down some tea staining on top of it. So I'm really excited about that. I was on Periscope. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Periscope, but I was on Periscope doing a live broadcast, and I was doing a pen and ink drawing, and I'm stupid and clumsy, and I let my teacup set on my drawing, and I got a big tea ring. Instead of crying about it, I just was like, oh, well, let's just continue to paint with it. And anyway, now I'm completely obsessed. And it's wonderful because it's bridging the gap between my love of tea and my love of painting, and now I can knit it together. So I'm pretty stoked about that. So tea painting, y'all, it's really fun. It's happening. Well, obviously tea is super acidic, so I don't really understand the archival aspect to tea painting, really. I mean, people use tea to antique paper. So what I'm doing to preserve my pen and ink tea paintings is I'm just using a spray varnish afterwards to seal everything and help the paper keep its strength, essentially. Yeah. Yeah. I would speak to saying that storing art is not fun for artists. Sometimes the safest way to store art is to just leave it on your wall or put it in a gallery. So the way that I store my art is I keep it on a wall. So if we were to go to my home studio, it's like tiled from, floor to ceiling with just art. And it's a little maddening at times. Like, there's no like place to rest your eye that's like this nice blank. But yeah, I have major anxieties about, archiving art, and I think maybe that's why I enjoy doing some of my art in digital photography format. And I make very little prints of those. If any, it's very, I would say, limited edition and only for art shows, and with, made with the intent to sell that opening. Because, yeah, storing art is rough. Inevitably, you have to retouch pieces if they don't sell right away. Corners get dinged. It's a lot of upkeep. Being an artist, it's weird because you're very outside of your body. You're exploring other aspects of life and beyond, but because of the demand for the amount of materials you need and all of the art that you make, you end up with just this ridiculous amount of stuff, and it's frustrating because you're kind of tied down by your stuff and your medium. It becomes like a shell you're carrying on your back. So to continue with art, there's like a dedication to the process and to the madness, and like really giving yourself up to that, because I really haven't. I'd like to collect things, but I don't have room to collect things because I have art supplies. I guess that's what I collect. Yeah. So yeah, definitely. We're definitely pack rats, artists. We have a lot of material, and it's a weird balance because you're trying to stay beyond or out of or inner, but you have a lot of physical manifestation that you have to deal with on a regular basis. So, reality checks. Yeah, if you have the opportunity to, jump in on a studio that's separate from your living space, that's definitely awesome, because art has a way of taking over. I started with just a table and an easel, and I live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and it's everywhere. The living room is now this tiny little nook that was probably meant for like a dining table, and we have our couch stuffed in there with like a flat screen and our DVDs and music, and that's like the living room. And you're like, okay. And still, I paint there as well. Like, if I think about it, I think I have an art station in every room, even the bathroom. Is that weird? That's probably pretty weird. Because it's like a continental bath, so we have 2 sinks. We designate one of the sinks for, dealing with the paint and the cleanup. We don't want to do that in our kitchen. So yeah, essentially everywhere is art. And but as much as I'm complaining, it's awesome. I love it. It feels home to me. Everything I have, everything I own has paint on it. It's okay. Even my hair has, like, these things end up, like, in paint, and I probably consume a lot of paint. I always sometimes put my brush in the wrong cup. So, yeah, it's all-inclusive. All or nothing. Oh, yeah. I think, yeah, there's definitely, like, a weird balance that has to be achieved, right? Like, you can't always be on doing art. So yeah, even when I'm painting, I'll put on like one of my favorite movies and sit in our tiny little nook of a living room with a TV tray to paint. But mostly it's music that I'll be enjoying while I'm sitting there painting at my easel. I don't do art full time. Well, I guess I do in some ways, seeing that like, I work full time and then I do art on pretty much every single moment I can afterwards. So it's kind of like I'm doing 2 full-time jobs. But at this point, I would say that it's kind of a nice rest. I think it would be a bit exhausting at this point in my life to be completely overcome and taken by my creative thoughts that come on a regular basis. I think it's important to have another direction to put some energy also. Balance is important. So, yeah. And as far as like, I feel like there's a lot of weird feelings about artists who have other jobs that I kind of want to say, I really don't think it should matter on the merit of the artist if they don't do art only. And it's sometimes one of the first questions that I'm asked by somebody who's new to my art. They want to know if I do this only, exclusively. And sometimes I feel like people are let down when I say, no, it's not the only thing I do. And I think it just involves like people's ideas of success. And I would kind of talk about my childhood. My mom was a blues musician, and she, she was very much dedicated to her art, but she didn't want to invest in a lot of the, the office jobs and all, just these things. She wanted to concentrate on art, but it made it an unstable environment at times for us because there wasn't this base. So sometimes you got to take care of that base, because if you don't, you suffer and your art suffers. So I think maybe I cling to, office jobs and the like for stability because I want to be healthy. I want to buy good materials because I want to keep doing my art. So it's like a weird dedication balance. I'd say you don't have to starve for your art, and you shouldn't. Because you got to take care of yourself so that you can take care of your art. Yeah. It's just a theme that I've been coming up with a lot lately, just different interactions, and I've been thinking I need to address it in some capacity, so yeah. So yeah, as far as working full time, there's a lot of energy you put in there. It does eat up a lot of your time. It's sometimes very hard to motivate yourself to get when you get home to start working on all of these lists and projects and stuff. But mostly for me, I feel like at work, I'm just constantly thinking about all of these projects. I'm brainstorming, I'm writing lists at work, I'm taking time to kind of internalize things. And by the time I get home, I have so much pent-up energy, creative energy, that I just kind of explode with it and really just, tackle these projects. And what I've noticed with some people that I've seen who do art full-time is there isn't that 100% appreciation for art time because it's always there. They're always working on art, or at least they should be. When you have to step away from it, I think you appreciate your art time more. And it could even motivate you more to dedicate yourself to it. When you are forced to step away, you really appreciate it, and you look longingly at it, and you can't wait until you can go home or go to your studio. So, as with everything, there's pros and cons, and it doesn't, there's no one way, there's no creative process. Everybody's is different. But for me personally, at this point in my life, I think it's a good balance, and it's starting to get to the point where it's getting a little bit hard for me to do both, and I think it's a natural progression. And as I develop and as the community is there, or I find more communities to support me and to support, maybe I'll end up part-time. Maybe I will end up full-time, or nothing, or no office job or whatever. But I want to let it happen organically and not feel pressured into it by like these fairly almost uneducated and unnecessary opinions about what makes a successful artist. Yeah. I would say that my triumphs in art started out when I realized that I had to be physically present in a community to have tangible results. For a long, I mean, I'm of the generation where we were all on the internet, and if you were an artist, you were already posting your art online and learning about watermarking and understanding the intricacies of online marketing. But then at a certain point, I realized, well, this only gets me so far. I need to find a community that I can plug into, like, in a physical capacity. And once I realized that, and once I got the guts up enough to, like, brave a lot of social interaction and like, you know, do stuff like this where I'm, like, actively just talking about myself only, is when I started having art shows, or meeting artists that wanted to collaborate with me on a painting. And so there was some positive reinforcement to the super scary thing of going out into the world and putting yourself out there and being vulnerable. So once I did that, yeah, I got my first art show maybe about a year after moving to Portland, and it was a small art gallery. They no longer exist. It was independently owned, and it was a perfect experience. And I feel like as I get these new gigs, my art changes too. So over the years, I've had however many shows. It's not like an amazing amount, but I've had a good amount of shows, to the point that I'm happy where I'm at because I'm getting some of the shows at places that I wanted shows initially, but I'm realizing I might have not been ready for them at that point. Like, my artwork changes as everybody. I mean, we all grow as artists. So at this point, I feel like my triumph is being at a point where I feel comfortable and ecstatic about my craftsmanship and my message, and I know my art, and now I'm able to actually present it to people that are that I admire in different ways. And yeah, as far as art shows go, I mean, recently I had a really fun time at Burning Season 3. It's actually a local street art show mostly, and it just goes to show sometimes the weirdest communities pick you up and you don't even know how the heck it happens. But I ended up mostly being supported by the Portland street art community, and I love them to pieces, and they just continually share their opportunities with me. So I think it's a testament to being a part of a community and inserting yourself, and it's not, you have to give and take. So I did some live body painting for Burning Season 3. I had some art up. I had a good time. And yeah, I've also just recently been invited to the Goddess show, which is happening on March 11th. They've asked me to do both live body painting and live canvas painting on stage with some artists that they've flown internationally. They're great. They're a great group of people that are putting this on. It's Cloudbreak and Prism, and they're involved in some of the big festivals like Beloved and all of these things that any artist would covet to be a part of. So I'm excited about this opportunity. I'm considered the headliner, for what it's worth. The headliner as far as the live painting goes, the artists. And that's thrilling to be able to represent a show called Goddess in some degree, because that aligns perfectly with who I am and what my artwork is. Other triumphs might be murals around town, having the affirmation from your community that, yes, they want to see your art in public and they want it accessible to neighborhoods and tourists. It's always been a lifelong dream to have mural work. In Venice Beach, California, where I'm from, murals were everywhere. Street art, urban art was an important aspect to the experience of living in Venice Beach. So to be to the point where I can actively seek out walls and put artwork up on there, it's really exciting. So I hope to do that. I really want to expand in that direction with murals, because what's cool about murals is everybody has access. You can just walk by and see it. Sometimes gallery scenes and the like are a little exclusive. But I think urban art, street art, murals and the like are for everybody and anybody. And I totally dig that. And I'm excited to go in that direction. Granted, I'm fairly new at the mural process. I've done a handful of murals, but it's very similar to my process as far as canvas painting goes. You need to prep your surface, so I make sure that whatever I'm painting on is prepped well. So that's often using some sort of primer to make sure it's, your paint's going to stick. Then I'll go ahead and either use a projector to put my initial concept layout on to just sketch it out so I can have a grid of what I'm coloring. So once I have my sketch down on this big surface and it looks right, I begin color mapping is what I call it. Sometimes I'll have a thumbnail that I've painted on a smaller piece of paper that's kind of an idea. And I'll go and I'll just put some base colors down throughout the line work. Once those base colors are there, then you get to sprinkle in all the fun stuff like highlights and shadow. My artwork is very, I guess, graphic, not in the sense like there's gore. I'm a wimp. I'm not good with gore, but there's a lot of line work. It's kind of like an illustration. So my last and final step is to add some heavy black lines to define everything. And I think those black lines also really help pop the color. And then once all of that's done and it's to the liking, I'll just add a UV protective varnish over it. And that's the process. For now, I'm sure it might change as I learn new things like spray painting. I've been really trying to learn that as a skill. It's very different for me versus, I've always been, since I was a kid, painting and stuff. So spray painting is different. And I think I'm finally getting to the point that I'm not ashamed to show it, even though I've been showing the whole learning process, whatever. But I think learning more techniques in spray painting is really going to change my mural game up, and so I'm excited about that. So about over a year ago, I decided I needed to make a YouTube channel because why the hell not? I'm on all these other various social media profiles and whatever. So I made a YouTube channel. I got a digital camera, video camera, and I just started rambling at it. And it was kind of a trial basis to see if it was interesting to me personally and if I could interest others, and it worked. By golly. So now I am goofy on the camera on a regular basis in my home studio, talking about myself a lot, obviously, and my art. So that's Chelsea Rose Arts on YouTube, youtube.com/Chelsea Rose Arts. And a lot of it's my process, because personally, when I go on YouTube, I want to look at other artists' process. I'm fascinated by artist studios and all the weird little bits that are in these art studios, like the paint brushes that are all gnarly and all the weird little vials of supplies and heaps of paper. Anyway, it just interests me, so I'm kind of doing that personally. It's like studio tours and me talking about my process. There's time-lapse videos that I've created, and I also like to make videos about the art shows that I've been involved in as a way to kind of share and give back to the art community that's accepted me. And so I like to document some of the art stuff around town, and I recently started maybe trying to do some studio tours with some of my friends too, to broaden my channel and show you all the awesome people that inspire me. So that's my YouTube channel. Adding video to my process was daunting at first because you're suddenly aware of this mechanical eye staring you down the whole time. That's it's a heavy thing to get used to. You have to set up your lighting differently. You have to. There's a lot more forethought when I want to document my creative process, which means there's a lot of more prep to just creating something. So video has changed my process. It's made it a little bit more complicated, but it's also given me a new way to connect with other artists and like the meager following that I've cultivated. So there's a lot of feedback, and that feedback has been really positive, and so I would say that videos definitely inspired me. The interaction between the medium and my art has been really inspiring, and I don't know, I'm interested to see where it takes us next. I would say explore your voice before you really start pushing yourself out there. Once you feel like you have a direction, definitely seek out a community and push your art through that, and don't be afraid to collaborate with other artists. I think it's great to involve other energy in your art, and just try and stay true to some aspect of yourself. Don't feel swayed by too much of the feedback you get. It can be good. I would also caution to just take everything with a grain of salt, but also be open of mind. Like, it's a really weird space to be as an artist, and it can be very you can feel naked a lot, but sometimes you just gotta embrace it. And like I said, I think the most important thing is developing a community and finding a way that you can fit in and be mutually beneficial for your neighborhood or your global community with your art. So it's taken me a long time to figure out where my spot is in that, and it's given me confidence, and I hope that it continues to change, and I want to continue to stay open to growing and evolving my art and my intention. Yeah.